Welkom terug bij onze talkshow hier live vanuit het Alcura in Amsterdam tijdens TEDxWomen Amsterdam.
The first thing that we're connecting to the sensor network is intelligent lighting. LED lighting that can be any color that you want. But what we also want to do is we want to challenge the way that people think about lighting. What if the lighting was no longer attached to the lamppost, but it could actually fly around? What might you do with that? What if you could actually control it? Now, the technology is in early stages of development, but this YouTube clip is a demonstration that's made this summer in Austria by Ars Electronica. Flying lights. Now, if you could control it, maybe you could help it to lead your direction somewhere, or make you feel safer at night by having more lights lighting the area around you. But what if you were wearing my smart shoes? And you also allowed that to communicate to this network. Maybe somebody could be walking along and they're about to have a heart attack. Could this system then send a message through to emergency services? But also these lights could come over and start flashing and drawing attention so that you actually get help as soon as possible. So these are just some simple scenarios about what you might do if you start connecting more things together. But what I'm hoping that we can do is by these open systems that we can actually enable people like you to create the Internet of Things.
Ja, dat was een van onze spreeksters van vandaag, Lorna Goulden. Ze zit bij mij aan tafel, net als Elke Geraerts. We just saw you. Let me just shortly introduce you for those people at home who have missed that. Founder of your own company, Creative Innovation Works, and the former creative director at Philips Design. And what you've been sharing with us is your prediction of what technology is going to do for us and how it will affect our day-to-day life now, well, in the future, of course, mainly. And what do you think, from that perspective, our world would look like in 10 years from now?
Well, I think one of the main messages that I have is that we actually don't know. That you can't predict, and we actually see from history that everybody that tries to predict, they get it usually dramatically wrong. And I think what we're trying to do is actually enable people to be creative. And when you enable people to be creative, they do amazing things, things you don't expect.
Could you give us an example?
Well, I think the example we talked about earlier, so this quantified self people. So they have the tools and they've decided, well, we're going to actually take our own health and well-being into our own hands. Yeah. Also the example with the flying lights. And this is something that's been developed over a period of time, so things that can fly. What can you do with that?
It sounds amazing. What I always find interesting is how people are watching a movie and outrageous things happen in these movies and we go, oh, can you imagine everybody walking with a device that is like a personal device with their whole life in it, and then before you know it, 10 years later, that is reality.
Yes.
So in that way, can we see what's ahead of us?
Well, actually, I'm starting to think the opposite. That although we seem to have this idea that technology is moving fast and things are changing very fast, if you look at the rate of change in the first 50 years of the 1900 and 1950, the change was dramatic.
Yes.
But how we see things changing now,
it's just developing. It's
not dramatic.
Yeah.
And actually, it's almost like there's a little bit of a sort of a halt on how that technology is being developed into something that's really dramatically improving our lives.
Is there anything you're looking forward to that you dream about that makes you go, I wish we could get to a certain type of product, a certain type of...
Well, I think that the flying lights that I showed, I would really like to see those actually not just a sort of demonstration piece, but really in action. Working.
Yeah. I'm instantly thinking women in safety when I think of these traveling lights. This is one of the first things that comes to mind. I think, oh, that would be safe if I could walk across a dark alley and have a light with me wherever I go.
Yeah.
For instance.
I think some people might think, well, that's actually, maybe it wouldn't feel safe because, well, I'm putting myself in the spotlight. So for other people, they may think, well, actually, I want 3 of them, and I want them to actually go one way ahead and one at the sides, and I want them to actually have a look and see if there's anybody there. So for individuals, they could actually choose how they want this technology to work for them.
sounds like exciting things ahead. Let's talk about today. Let's talk about a day like today. I mean, we've heard your talk. We are looking forward to your talk. What is it that you would bring from this day? You get home and you say, you call your friend and you say, I had the greatest day. What did today bring you?
Well, I think actually I'm looking forward to the presentation later on today, but also the ones I've seen earlier. There's a lot about the connection between the mind and what we actually do.
Yeah.
And so how people actually put in their mind and having a sort of a control over how they're thinking, what they're doing, to actually achieve great things.
Yeah. Thank you so far. Jij moet natuurlijk nog.
Ja.
Je hebt al een aantal sprekers gehoord. Wat neem jij mee van wat je vandaag tot zover hebt meegekregen?
Ja, TEDx is natuurlijk altijd wel een speciaal evenement met heel veel diverse sprekers. En wat je bij alle sprekers ziet is een bepaalde inspiratie, een bepaalde keuze, een pad dat ze hebben ingeslagen. Dat heel bewust ook hebben gedaan en dat vind ik wel prachtig om te zien hier, hoe iedereen zo'n energie ook met zich meebrengt. Dus ik ga helemaal vol met energie naar huis straks.
Fijn, fijn. En wij gaan straks vol energie naar jou luisteren. Thank you so far.